Hey guys, it's Ree, what's up? I hope you're good. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to what I read in October, because somehow October is already over. I don't know how it happened. We're nearly in 2025. My frontal lobe is nearly fully developed and I have trouble accepting that. Alright, so here are all the books I read in or DNF'd in October. It's a lot, so let's get through them. First, I reread The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren for my 5-star reading vlog, which I talk about this vlog in every fucking reading video I make, but so I have this reading vlog I'm doing that I reread every 5-star I've had in 2023 to see how I'm feeling about them in 2024, because my rating system has changed, and also how they do it as a second read, because when I love a book, a lot of time I want to reread it. So I started with Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. So this book is about Jess, who is a single mother who hasn't dated since the father of her kid, who her child is now 7 years old. I think it's 7. She's about that age. And one day while she's working as usual in this cafe with her best friend, she sees this man that always comes in at the same time every day, orders an Americano, and leaves. And one day they hear that he's working on this dating app where they take some DNA samples and they match you with your perfect match based on those DNA samples. So Jess's best friend Fizzy, my favorite character in this whole fucking book, honestly, just goes and she's like, we're gonna do this shit. We're doing it, who cares? And so in a moment of weakness one night, Jess does the DNA test, sends it back, and doesn't think about it until she gets a message telling her to go to the head office of DNA Duo, which is this company. When she gets to the office, she is then told she got a 98% match with one and only Mr. Americano, River Pena, who is one of the scientists there. Seeing that she's not 100% sure what she's gonna do, DNA Duo are like, we're willing to pay you to actually go on dates with River and see how this relationship evolves. And so she does, and of course, they fall for each other, and it's very sweet. Next up, for the 3rd time this year, and the 5th time overall, I read Den of Fucking Vipers. Now, this is one of my favorite books, along with The Love Hypothesis and Faking with Benefits, which are 2 rom-coms, so it's completely in a different world. And a lot of people call it cringy, call it no plot. Yeah, like our main character is not like other girls, but for some reason, I love this so much. It's a comfort book. It's one of my favorites. Anyways, so this book, if you haven't heard about it yet, let me tell you, okay? First of all, look at all the fucking tabs I have on here. Yeah. So this book is about our main character, Roxy, who is strong, independent rocker chick, not like the other girls. Once you get over the fact that she's not like the other girls, it's cool, you know? And she's just living her life until these 4 guys shows up to her bar, basically telling her, your dad had a debt to us and he sold you to us to repay that debt. And then they kidnap her, of course. And there's this love-hate relationship with the 4 guys. Of course, they all fall in love. The 4 guys are like the head mafia of their city. There is a hit out on them, and it's just, I don't know why I love it so much. This is basically the gist of the whole thing, but I love it so much. Every time I read it, I have a new favorite. And for the first time this time, I loved Garrett. He was not my favorite. It was like, there was Ryder and Garrett up there head to head, but all of the other times I read it, I was like, you can never make me love Garrett. Okay, I know he has trauma, I know like why he is how he is, but you can never make me love Garrett. I was wrong. Anyways, 5-star, as usual, fucking love this book. Next, I reread again for this 5-star rating vlog, My Roommate is a Vampire. I read it about a year ago and it still slaps. So this book is about Cassie, who needs to find a new apartment and quick because she has an eviction notice. And she finds this one apartment on Craigslist, which is actually very cheap for where it's placed and how it looks. She is not really sure, but she's like, you know what? I'm gonna go visit that roommate. Hopefully I don't get killed and I get the place. You know, why not? So she does, and that's where she meets Frederick J. Fitzwilliam, who he looks a little bit old school. He looks a little bit weird, but he's nice enough. The rent is cheap, the apartment is beautiful. So she takes the room. Now, of course, as the title suggests, he is a vampire, and he was looking for a roommate to basically teach him how to live in this modern world because he's been asleep for, I think, a century at this point. And of course, it's a rom-com. They fall in love. I really like it. It's really sweet. Next up, I read the first and DNF the second in the Memento Mori series by Catherine Ann Kingsley. So Catherine Ann Kingsley writes villain romances, and I used to love very dark romances and villain romances, but I've lost that a little bit. Like, you give me a mafia romance, I'm okay, but like besides that, like I just found out the other day I don't really like stalker romances anymore. So, you know, sorry. So this book is about Margaret, who the only thing she can remember about herself before the last 18 months is all of the death she's had in all of her other lives. She thinks she's fucking crazy, so she sees a therapist and he's trying to help her. The therapist... Wow, I don't want to say too much, but like I guessed it at the start. So like this therapist is actually our villain and so our love interest. Now the first one was interesting enough. It was fast-paced. But when I got to the second one, it just felt like the same shit over and over as the first one. And I wasn't as interested in knowing about it and seeing her and our villain get together. And yeah, DNF the second one. First one was nice enough. So yeah, I also really like Catherine Ann Kingsley. A couple years back, I've read the Fate Prince, I think it is, series. The Labyrinth series, I think it's called. I've also read her Dracula duology. Loved those. So I was thinking I was gonna love these, but I just lost my touch with villain romances, so yeah. Next up, I picked up Gothic Hannah, which, okay, I'm just gonna show you how fucking beautiful this first print art cover is, okay? First of all, pretty cover. We don't care about it. We don't care about that. This, the crest of Varenmore, which is the university they go to, on the top. This sprayed the edges and these end papers. And also, at the start of every chapter, there's a quote page, which, like, with a picture, fucking beautiful. I know I just said I lost my touch with darker romances, but this was not too dark. It was just a little bit thrillery, so... I know it says a dark romance on the top, but it's not really a dark romance. It's a thrillery romance. It's not really dark. The things that happen are dark, but it's not like a dark romance. So this book is about our main character, Corvina, who has gotten a letter saying she was accepted to Varenmore University, where she never applied. But she was raised by a single schizophrenic mother, and she is now alone in her cabin at the edge of town. And she's always wanted bigger things for herself. She's always wanted to go to school, but she was homeschooled. So she goes, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go. And when she gets there, the castle where Varenmore is located is, it seems first of all like a haunted castle. The energy is very weird. The people are weird. But she's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm at university now. We're doing this. And so she tries her best, does her classes, tries to not be weirded out by everything going on, until her eyes meet the eyes of a man playing piano at the top of the tour. It's not even a tour. What is it? Anyways, at the top of the like castle building she lives in. And then she sees him a couple days later again as one of her professors. That is Mr. Deverell, also known as the Varenmore Silver-Eyed Demon. Weird shit always seemed to happen around them, but Corvina is of course really attracted to him. And so in this book we go through their romance, which is like forced proximity, forbidden romance, and all of the weird shit that's happening at Varenmore. I enjoyed it. It was good. Next, we have a fucking 5-star, my guys. So a couple months ago I read Butcher and Blackbird, and this month I read Leather and Lark. I thought I was gonna enjoy it because I enjoyed Butcher and Blackbird, but I fucking loved this. We have an arranged marriage situation, which arranged marriage, fake dating, and Grumpy Sunshines are my favorites. So, you know, this is not a Grumpy Sunshine situation. It's just that those are my favorite tropes. So in here we have Lachlan Kane, who is actually Rowan from the first book's brother. And then we have Lark Montague, who is Sloane, our main character from the first book's best friend. Now, Lark is secretly a serial killer. She goes and kills pedophiles, as one does. And Lachlan is a killer for hire trying to get the fuck out of that situation. Now, when Lark's family friends are starting to be killed off one by one and the threat extends to Lachlan and his family, which includes her best friend, Lark thinks of a little bit of a silly idea, which is to marry Lachlan Kane, knowing that they despise each other, of course. And so, while working through that threat, they get to know each other more and more and fall in love, and it was just very sweet and very entertaining, and it's a comedy, like it's a rom-com, but like a dark rom-com. It was very nice. Really enjoyed that. Next, we have another DNF. Not because I think it's not a good book. It looks like a really fucking good book, but I don't think I'm gonna enjoy it. Like, the writing is beautiful. The representation is amazing. It's not a romance, so I just couldn't really get into it that much. I am a romance girly at heart, so the book we're talking about is The Spirit Bears Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White. It looks like such a good fucking book. I want to enjoy it. But I got like 40 pages in and I couldn't do it more. I got to chapter 4. So in this book we actually have trans representation, we have autistic representation, we have family issues. That's where I got. We also have a like magical element. So in this book, violet-eyed spirits are really, really wanted. The boys to become magic people and reach through the veil of death. Purple-eyed daughters, well, they're good to make more purple-eyed kids. Our main character in this is Silas, a female-to-male trans kid. We are in the 1800s, okay? So like, he's living as a girl because that's what people see him as. And the only thing he wants is to get into like the magical society because he has violet eyes. become a surgeon and run far away to live his life as a boy. Now, I haven't gotten that far, but from the little flap inside, it says, after a failed attempt to escape an arranged marriage, Silas is diagnosed with Veil sickness, a mysterious disease sending violet-eyed women into madness, and shipped away to Braxton's finishing school and sanatorium. The facility is cold, the instructors merciless, and the students either bloom into eligible wives or disappear. When the ghosts of missing students start begging Silas for help, he decides to reach into Braxton's innards and expose its guts to the world if the school doesn't break him first. Like, it looks like such a good fucking book, but I couldn't really get into it. I was craving a romance and I just haven't picked it back up. I might pick it back up, just not now. I just love my romances too much. Talking about that, the last book I read this month, I actually finished it on the 31st. Another Elise Kova Married to Magic book! Fucking love Elise Kova's writing, okay? I'm just gonna say it right now. Her writing is fucking amazing, and her Married to Magic series is fucking amazing. I've also read the Air Awakened series by her, which I really liked too, which is a little bit more like adventure based, if I can say it that way. Anyways, this is A Dawn with the Wolf Knight, which is the latest Married to Magic book. So in here we have Phelan, who is a little witch. She lives in her little cottage at the edge of the woods to protect the civilians from lycans, werewolves. And one day she sees this girl running away from some lycans, and she takes her into her home to help her. Well, while she's on a little trip to go get some food and stuff, the lycan finds the spirit again and burns her house down. Now, this girl is actually the spirit of the moon, and half of her magic was transferred to Phelan in an incident. So when the King's Knights hear about that, they take Phelan as well as taking the spirit back to the king. Now, the other part of this duo is Evander. He is the king's trusted knight, or so the king thinks. And he is also the one who is going to be sworn protector of Phelan. Of course, there is some forced proximity, and they go and fall for each other, and he helps Aurora, the moon spirit, and Phelan plan their final escape. And it's very good, very sweet. I think I gave it like a 3.5, but that's because I started a reading slump, so it's a reason that this got lower than what I think it would be worth if I would have read it not in reading slump. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!